we are live coming at you, as you probably just heard, with founder, I guess, you the founder, and the commissioner. We'll give you your your due there. The commissioner, we got Dylan on today. Welcome, Dylan. How are you doing?
Doing well. How about you, buddy?
Doing well. Ready to get into this.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So, just to recap for those of you who might not be listening very often or uh, anything like that, a few things to mention. One, got Will on the baby cam. He's actually currently moving, so I have to go deal with this in a second. It hasn't happened yet, knock on wood. But if you guys start crying and I stop talking, I'm going up there to deal with that. It'll only be a few minutes, hopefully. Be back on schedule. We got. Is that your is that your voice or is that a what was
Oh,
that?
apparently I have a soundboard.
Wait, what on Discord?
Oh yeah.
That is hilarious. I thought you made that with your voice. Okay, anyways. All right, Dylan. Let's go ahead and get started. We got a lot to talk about today. First, we're gonna get into your trades.
All right, all right.
All the way back on May 6th, at 8:44 p.m. I don't know. That's Mountain Time. I doubt it, but um, we had an in draft trade. I believe this was. I don't think this happened before. We have you and Taylor making a little deal for.
The
Uh,
Luther Burden trade, I call it.
yes, you sent the 206 and Zay Flowers for the 109 and Bo Nix, and I don't really. I knew you got. I knew you traded for both of those guys. I didn't realize that that's all you gave up. I totally forgot about this trade. Because this is a fleece. Sorry, Taylor. This is crazy. I totally forgot that this had happened. Um, thoughts on? Did you go to him with this, or did he just hit you up with this? I know Taylor's kind of erratic with with trades, but
Uh, no, this definitely wasn't a Taylor original. I was pretty much in everyone's DMs that entire day throughout the first round of the draft. I was trying to get in there for either of the bears that were available. As you know, I was big on Loveland. You sniped him from me, so then I had to go to my contingency option, which was Luther Burden. So I was shopping Zay Flowers around all day long. I was ready to move on from him. I kind of realized what his ceiling looked to be at this point, and I think that I was correct about that. I don't feel like he really like blew up this year any more than he had previously. I feel good about moving on from him for someone with potentially more upside and Luther Burden.
I mean,
The Bo Nix thing, though, that was entirely of Taylor's doing. I did not seek out Bo Nix, but I also wasn't gonna kick away Bo Nix. And especially now that Mahomes has torn his ACL and my QB3 was Russell Wilson, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think I'm gonna be very happy to have Bo Nix this year.
yeah, I agree. And I know Taylor ended up getting from that pick. He ended up taking Cam Ward, so he, in my opinion, downgraded from Bo Nix to Ward. And
Not a bad consolation.
no, but we'll see. Burden had a good rookie year. Started a little slow, but that's most rookies, and then kind of came on towards the end. Did some work in the playoffs as well. But Flowers, to his credit, had a better year than I remembered. I didn't realize he had 1,200 yards, only the 5 touchdowns.
He
But
did, he did. He finished as I think either wide receiver two, maybe a fringe wide receiver one,
I
if I
just
recall correctly.
I have a tough. I don't know. Maybe that is his floor now, but I have a tough time thinking that's his floor just because we've seen. I don't know. I don't know. I will admit I didn't look at his numbers before I said that was a total fleece, but I
Yeah, I
still
don't know if I think it's a total fleece. I think it kind of depends on how Luther Burden pans out.
yes.
But the way that he was looking at the end of the year, I still like where I stand on that trade in the long run.
Now
I think if you're looking for more immediate production, Jose Flowers is probably still your guy for the time being until proven otherwise.
and we'll see what the Bears what they do this offseason at receiver. A lot of buzz around DJ Moore getting traded. So if that
Get him out.
happens,
Get him out.
if that happens, then he's looking primed for a definitely a better season. But yeah, so that's the first trade you made, which was looking at it more even. I don't I'm not a Zay Flowers believer personally, but maybe my mind will be swayed if he has another good year, but I don't know. I don't know that I see him replicating that. Next trade you
Yeah, we'll
made
see. We'll see.
was with me. This is a common theme in these. There's a trade to be made. I'm around somewhere. This one is kind of a wash. Honestly, there's not really much going on here. Two young players being swapped for one another. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you can, or if you're on the Discord, you can see my screen. If you didn't know that already.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Got it right here.
Well, Seattle's in here. What the? Get out of here, Seattle. He's in the Discord. He's muted at
He's
least,
kind of
but
listening. He's making sure I won't talk good about him.
that's kind of funny. I looked at it. It says Dylan in Seattle watching my screen on the Discord. What's this guy doing? All right. Anyways, um, so we swapped. I sent you Torrey Horton and a.
Speaking of Seattle,
Oh God. Well, that's the Seattle with two T's. Seattle with one T.
exactly.
Torrey Horton and the 2026 Rules 2026 third, which ends up with being the 303, and I get Tesla and a 2027 second, which is yours. So more than likely going to be a bottom half pick, probably towards that 9, 10, 11, 12 range, as we'll discuss later. So we'll see.
I hope so.
Kind of a wash. They both had okay seasons. Horton I know
Yeah, I
got
think I.
hurt.
That's what I was gonna say. I think I liked Horton a little better throughout the first like quarter, first third of the year. I think he was getting a little bit more opportunity than Tesla was, but then he kind of got hurt. Got that whole rookie season got derailed, and now they have Shaheed there. They might bring him back, so I don't know what Torrey Horton's gonna look like in the long run.
I think his yeah. It depends on. I don't know what Shahid's contract looks like. I believe he's
Yeah, he's a free agent. I
free
know he's
agent,
up
right?
for
So
either getting extended or he might walk. We'll see. I hope they keep him. Honestly, he's an excellent return man,
yeah,
but I don't know how that cuts into Torrey Horton's workload once he's healthy again.
I think it depends on this guy. Honestly, I think they're kind of a little bit more similar, and I don't know. I think Cooper Cup's time with the Sun is waning. We'll talk about him later too, but obviously he's still good. He didn't produce numbers that we've seen from him,
Yeah, I've got some
which is
thoughts on
fair.
Cup. We'll talk about that later,
All
though,
right,
like you said.
we'll leave Cup for now, but like I said, it's kind of a wash. Both had okay years. Tesla had some ridiculous catches, a lot of touchdowns, but I mean that's not going to be an every year thing. I do think his
That touchdown to reception ratio
is crazy. Yeah,
is not going to be sustainable.
it's insane. I think his first like four catches, three of them were touchdowns, and they were all like one handed. It was crazy. I do think he's pretty much locked in for this wide receiver three role. Now, who knows? I could be something better with how with our new offense coordinator. I don't know, but we'll see on Tesla. It's too early to tell for both of them, but two young guys swapped for one another, and then your last trade, another trade with good old Taylor here. You made a win now move. You sent T Higgins and your next 2 years first, your 27 and 20. Oh, sorry, Rahul's 27 first and your 28 first. You sent those for Devontae Adams, Rashee Rice, and Taylor's 2027 second. So I'll let you take charge here. What are your overall thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to call this one the hindsight is 2020 deal. I thought that was a good move at the time. I don't know that I'd say it's a bad move now, but I think all of us are well aware that Rashee Rice is in the headlines right now for not so great reasons. So I'm a little concerned about the long-term outlook there, depending on certain legal proceedings, we'll say.
Yes.
I mean, I think Adams still has some gas in the tank. I think he's still got another year or two at least of being a high-end guy. I mean, he was getting a lot of red zone work with the
Hmm.
Rams. They liked him in the red zone quite a bit. Looked like he was getting a lot of targets, even up on the goal line a lot of the time when they didn't want to hand it off to Kyron Williams. So I think he'll continue to be a guy that can be relied upon for 10, 12, 14 points per game, most likely, uh, playing alongside the anti-Semite Puka Nakua.
Yeah.
But Rashee Rice is another one that, again, I already kind of mentioned the off the field concerns there. And then, now you've got Mahomes out for an unknown amount of time with an ACL tear. I don't know what Rashee Rice's workload looks like without Mahomes under center. So, there could be some concerns there. Get a little draft pick back. I do miss T. Higgins. I was always a big T. Higgins guy. Everyone in this league knows I was a big T. Higgins guy. It was
Yep.
very painful to move on from him, but I felt like I had a shot this year. So I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on this one. And honestly, I don't know, what does it say what week this deal took place in?
October 1st, so
Yeah.
probably around week 3, 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, for 8, 9, 10 weeks, I felt like this was a good deal. I mean, I was pretty firmly in second place for a while, staring down a bye, and then I just kind of fumbled it at the goal line. No pun intended. Gave it up to Archie. He stole it from me. Archie, if you're here, no, I'm not gonna say it.
He's not
It's
here.
fucked up.
Whoa, yeah.
But
Can't say that on camera.
oop, my bad, my bad, my bad.
This is
Don't
forever.
Twitch, don't ban me. Twitch, don't ban me. But yeah, no, it's just everything kind of fell apart there after week 14 once we got into the playoffs for whatever reason. Kyle Pitts was the only player on my team other than Christian McCaffrey that decided he wanted to play. So with
Yeah,
that in mind, this trade kind of fizzled out a little bit for me, but for a time it looked like an excellent deal.
what was that? Was that week 1 of the playoffs or week 2 where he went 51 points week 1 and he ended up losing, but that was insane. That week in the playoffs, that will never be forgotten. All right, we'll talk about Pitts later. But yeah, I don't know. This one I have in my notes. This all depends on Rice going forward. Uh, not maybe not the best guy to have relying on for a trade like that, but who knows? He could bounce back, stay on the field, bounce back on and off the field. Try not to get in any more legal trouble. But yeah, I like Adams. We'll talk about him too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with those two first. Rules first might be looking mid there, and then the 28 first is too far out to know. But we'll see. I know you're probably missing Higgins for the emotional connection, but I think you got at least one good player, um, in Adams for the next couple years. It's a win now move. So I don't know. It's tough to fault, especially like
Absolutely.
you said. I mean, you rattled off a bunch of wins, then got close. So can't can't quite fault it. So all right, that's all the trades you made this year. Now we're gonna move on to the team. So first off, we'll talk receiver in a second. I know this looks weird, but I've got a lot to say about the receivers. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but we'll talk about them. So don't have any alarm bells going off. Start with quarterbacks. Who I think everyone should be in agreement. Mahomes and Knicks are both starting level quarterbacks who feel fine starting them either week or any week. Obviously, once Mahomes is healthy again, and Knicks also. He's had that broken foot or quote unquote broken foot. I think it was one of those things where it's like, oh no, I played bad because I broke my foot. Just kidding. So I think you're fine at quarterback. Russell Wilson's is nobody. You can drop him. I don't see him, getting any more starting gigs. Maybe he does somewhere, but you're fine with those two. Obviously, you know this. Maybe yeah, they're both young, so quarterback you're pretty set. I feel like you already touched on that, but anything to add with your quarterback room?
No, I don't think I have anything to add there. I think that Russell Wilson's probably going to be heading for the door here soon. It's just a matter of figuring out who to replace him with. I always try to carry at least three on the roster since we do have that limit. But yeah, no, I don't know that he's ever going to see any meaningful play ever again. So he definitely needs to get rotated out for somebody else. Uh, um, Knicks, I think, will be fine by the time the season starts. The only question mark is probably Mahomes torn
Mm-hmm.
ACL. You
Yeah,
never really know what you're going to get there, but
it
hopefully
was,
nothing serious.
it was pretty late in the season, so I don't think it'll be opening day or week 1, week 2. Maybe I don't know. The technology and medicine and all that is advanced, so maybe it will be, but I think you'll probably rely on Knicks
Yeah,
early in the season. I did forget
I'm sure
to
they're sparing no expense for
yeah
Patrick Mahomes' treatment.
yeah no I did forget to mention or go to the draft board. I skip. It's in my notes every time I forget it. You only had one pick, Luther Burden. We talked about him. I know you said you wish you not wish you could have, but Loveland was someone you were looking at. Anybody else that you would have traded up for, or anybody you were looking at that, the one that got away per se, knowing what we know now, of course, but back then?
Uh, no, I don't think so. I think that, yeah, I mean, obviously, there's like the top three guys of like Genty, Hampton,
Yeah,
and McMillan. But like, obviously, I think like most people would have been interested to name those three guys,
yeah,
but it wasn't really feasible to get that far up into the draft, at least not for a price I was willing to pay.
right.
But no, I mean, I feel pretty good about the Burden pick. There's there's not anyone that was taken after like the bum Marcus Golden, Matthew Golden.
Yeah,
I'm mixing him up with a defensive end, I'm pretty sure. Whoops. That's how much of a bum he is. But
he is packaged.
yeah, no, I wouldn't have taken him. Egbuka for a time looked pretty sharp, but he kind of tapered off there.
Sucks now.
Might not have been the worst idea to get him as a little Chris Godwin contingency plan,
Understudy.
but I think I was swinging for the fences here. I think Luther Burden is the guy that I liked a lot and I still like a lot, so I'm pretty happy with that one.
Nice. And I also forgot to mention this season you were third in points for. You were first in max points for. It's tough. And your points against, or yeah, against were sixth. So, obviously, easy lock for the playoffs with that points for. Well, not easy lock. We've seen crazy things happen in this league, but
Oh yeah. Yeah, we
theoretically,
saw we saw Tim finish in first one year. People forget.
he doesn't listen, so you can say whatever you want. That was fluke.
I am
Bullshit.
saying whatever I want. I can't believe that happened.
Bullshit. Tim, you're not listening. It's bullshit. And then middle of the road sixth, so not too bad there. Didn't which is actually honestly pretty good with being in the goods division. So I would take that usually. That division tends to put up more points. So all right, quarterbacks are done. Running backs. I did see today. We'll start with Brees Hall because I just saw some news today that said they do plan on franchise
Uh,
tagging, or that he was
oh,
franchise
don't
tagging.
don't tell me.
Um,
No.
let's see if I read that correct because I thought the franchise tag was passed, right? Um, yeah, it says Jets beat writers don't think he's going to free agency. So either he's getting tagged or he is they're working on an extension, which is worst case scenario for him, honestly. The Jets are terrible. He's obviously a very good player. His stats over the last couple of years are, solid. But I think everyone agrees these are not what we think. This is not Brees Hall's ceiling, which is a fine floor. He just needs to get out of this offense, if you're asking me, and if you're asking probably most people. So we'll see what happens with Brees Hall. If he leaves, that's amazing. Don't think he's leaving though. So I'd expect another sort of season
No.
like this. New offensive coordinator, hopefully they don't try to do one of those running back by committees like they tried last year, given Isaiah Davis.
I just don't think it works with this offense. I don't think
It
Braylon
doesn't.
Allen is that good.
He's not. No, none of those guys are that good. Brees Hall is. He should be as close to a bell cow as you can get in today's NFL.
Should be in a perfect world, but unfortunately, he's in probably yeah, I'll say probably the worst run organization in the league right now. I could say you could give a shout for the Browns there, but it's probably the Jets at the moment, if we're being honest.
At present, I'm inclined to agree. The whole thing with the letting Jim Schwartz walk and hiring, who'd they hire? The other defensive coach,
Oh, they took
Munkin.
oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm blanking.
So
Yeah,
they took Munkin, and then that's right. That's right. That's right. They said we're not taking a defensive coach. You get to stay defensive coordinator. And then Munkin comes in. He's like, I want to be head coach. And now we'll see. I think he has already resigned. I don't know. Either or.
I don't know what you call it. He's not coaching this year.
He's not
I'm pretty
coaching.
sure the Browns own his contract rights, but he said he's
Right.
out.
So we'll see what happens with that. I think you're right though. I think the Jets. I don't know. I love Aaron Glenn, but I don't see him making it to the end of the season. But anyways, enough about the Jets. Move on to something more exciting. You got a good 1-2 punch here with A-Chain and CMC. New offense, new head coach for A-Chan, but I don't know. I think he's probably still, top 12 running back caliber.
Yeah, I think he
Um,
has to be, but I also think that Mike McDaniel loved targeting
yes,
him and getting him a lot of work in the receiving game and just giving him, you know, crap ton of touches every game. So remains to be seen what he'll look like with a new guy calling plays for him.
I mean,
But I think that I'm inclined to agree that he's too good not to use. So, and especially now you've got Tyreek Hill on his way out the door, and that offense is just going to be kind of a mess. I think you're going to have whoever's playing quarterback, whether it's Tua or Quinn Ewers or some other question mark from free agency or the draft, somebody's going to need to be leaning on HM quite a bit, I think.
yeah, I don't see him getting quite 85 or 87 receptions. He obviously had a lot more work in the running game this year and proved he could do it again. I mean, that first year was insane, averaging 7 a carry or almost 8 a carry. It was crazy. Um, but like these numbers are, he's too good. He's explosive. He can play out of the backfield. He's just very good. So I don't think he's going anywhere. And also, like you said, they don't really have anybody else. I mean, Jalen Waddle's a lot left to be desired with Jalen Waddle. Malik Washington was truly, yeah. I mean, like this guy is not a factor. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. So we'll see. Hopefully, he can answer the call again. I like Achan for sure. So I think he'll be fine. And then McCaffrey is just the age old. Is he going to stay healthy? Is he not? 3 of the last 4 years he has been, and he's been the best or second best running back in the league. So I think again, this is all contingent on stay healthy. That's all. I only note I have for McCaffrey. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty consistent with everybody else. But
yeah, I think we've seen with the San Francisco Christian McCaffrey that as long as he's healthy, Kyle Shanahan is perfectly content to let him touch the ball 30 times a game.
right,
So I think that bodes well for just about anybody, and especially when you have somebody as talented as McCaffrey. I mean, it's always going to
yep,
mean points, I think.
agreed. All right, moving on to Zach Charbonnet. Um, really, this one is too early to tell because depends on what they do with Kenneth Walker. If he walks or if he's no longer a Seahawk, then I think he's primed to be a starter caliber player. Um, I don't know if you've heard anything different than I have, being a Seahawks fan, but I don't know that they're going to let him walk. I also am not totally sure Sharp can be that, the number one guy. I think he thrives in that backup role, but he's a red zone threat. He's gonna score from 5 yards and in, so that's always good. And we'll see what he looks like coming off the injury. But I think I'm ready to say he can be that number one guy. What about you? What are your thoughts on Sharp?
I think that he absolutely can. I think there's an asterisk there. Again, like with many running backs, it's kind of contingent on him being healthy, and
Yeah.
he's fresh off of a late season ACL tear. So, given the position he plays, I don't suspect that he will be ready to be performing at a high level, if at all, within the first like month and a half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that with Seattle, it's generally not their MO to pay big money to their running backs, with the exception of Marshawn Lynch for obvious reasons.
Right.
But Walker's a stud. I would love to see him stay, but I would not be at all surprised if they decide to just go draft somebody on day two and pair up with Charb, maybe even have the job until Charb is healthy again. But I think Charb is too talented not to play. I think we saw that when he was healthy. He got a lot of goal line work. It became kind of a running joke that whenever Seattle got inside the 10-yard line, it was Charb time. Kenneth
Yeah.
Walker was coming off the field. Sorry, Kenneth Walker. But
Yeah. It's
but
five
yeah, I
five
think
five
I think
touchdowns to 12 in favor of Sharp. So
yeah, I mean Charb was good for a touchdown almost every game, it seemed like. So he
yeah.
he had a pretty safe floor of like 10, 11 points, I would say, a lot of the time, just based on the type of work he was getting alone.
Mm,
So always good for a little spot start if you need him to stick him in the
definitely.
flex spot if you have somebody on a bye week. But entirely contingent on how he looks when he comes back from that ACL tear.
Agreed. Agreed. Now moving on to another Dylan Dylan's team running back, Tyrone Tracy, who is still on a rookie deal, but I don't know. I don't know if he's got many more touches left in the tank, unless, of course, our old friend Cam Scadaboo, gets hurt again. We don't want that to happen, but it's definitely on the cards with any running back. But particularly him with his running style, we'll see. In my opinion, he's not someone to drop, but someone to just hang on to and wait for the injury, or just wait for him to get out of New York and maybe get a fresh start somewhere else. So I like Tracy. I don't know. I'm comfortable leaving him as a backup. Obviously, if Scadaboo gets injured, he is easily maybe a flex spot there, but we'll see. I don't want to count on an injury for him or for Scadaboo.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now it's kind of difficult to say what's gonna happen with Tracy at the moment. You have an entirely new coaching staff coming in, and
True too.
I don't really know. I mean, obviously they've had Derrick Henry in Baltimore the last couple of years, and he kind of gets the lion's share of touches. But when they don't have like a bona fide star like that, I don't really recall how Harbaugh's staff used to handle that. And I don't really. I mean, like Scadaboo's good. Don't get me wrong when he's healthy, but I don't really know that I would call him a bona fide star, at least not yet. So I think Tyrone Tracy's gonna get some looks still.
Yeah.
Um, what those looks look like remains to be seen. I mean, he's a converted wide receiver, so I mean, I could see
Right.
them giving him some work in like at least like third down, long down situations over Scadaboo. I don't know that that's really Scadaboo's strength. I think he likes to get in on short yardage situations, goal line situations, which is tough because that's where the points are.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, I don't know. It's tough to say. I think having Tracy in the who knows tier is probably a pretty apt place to have him at the moment because it's just too many unknowns.
Agreed. Agreed. Moving on to Jerome Ford. He's a free agent. Good for a couple of years. Don't know. I don't know that we're ever going to see him in a prominent role like we did those couple of. Well, really, that one year
No,
when they had nobody else to run the ball. So I don't know. I think he's on the verge of cut candidacy, but he's a free agent, so we could go somewhere where it's a favorable role for him. Don't know that he's going to have a lot of interest with these stats last year, but who knows? People need running backs all the time, so we'll see. We'll see what he does, but he's in who knows just because he's a free agent. I don't really see it with him, but fun
yeah,
story.
he's difficult to say. I mean, he's not super old yet. I mean, he's only
Mm-hmm.
26, which he's kind of creeping up on that running back age threshold that we like to talk about. I think a lot of times people say like 27, 28, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we're seeing some older guys sticking around, I guess we'll say.
Definitely
So,
the last
and
couple of years.
he hasn't been featured in like a prominent role really at any point in his career other than when like Nick Chubb was injured. So, he's not like over inundated with touches or anything like that. So, I mean, I could see him ending up in a situation where a team has kind of a barren running back room, maybe getting some looks here and there, but I don't think we'll ever see him be like a top 24, not even necessarily like a top 36 guy. He might
Yeah,
just be like a good random flex start.
yeah, I'm with you there. And then a couple of guys who I don't really know where to put them. I don't. I think they're young enough where you can't cut them. Vidal obviously had some work this year. Had a couple big games, but I don't know that. This is he's hoping for another Hampton injury. They're not. I mean, they're going to give Hampton more looks than Vidal for sure. And we saw that when he came back off from injury, Vidal was much less featured much less. So Vidal's one to hold on for, another one that hopefully he goes to free agency or gets a trade or something like that. Uh, I don't see him getting a trade. I think he's probably just going to be understudy to Hampton, which has already had one injury, so who's to say it can't happen again. But again, too young to get rid of. Same thing with Hunter, super young, obviously rookie, but he's behind Williams and Corum, who I don't really see unless they both leave. But I think Williams has another 3 or 4 years on his deal, or 3 years on his deal, and Corum still has 2 years on his rookie. So Hunter is mega development. He's only here because he's a rookie, and you don't expect rookies to pop off so early. But Vidal, I think, could be something in the future, just because he already has shown that he can do it. But we'll see. His situation might need to change.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Vidal's case, he's a victim of flourishing a little too late because I think if he had shown the type of promise that he showed while Hampton was out as a rookie, Hampton might not even
Yeah,
be in LA now, but
that's true.
now they went out and spent first round draft capital on a running back. I mean, they're going to use that guy, so it is what it is. So I think it's, we're never hoping for an injury, but if something happened to Hampton, I'd be happy to put Vidal back in my lineup here and there as needed, just like I did last year. I mean, he was good at points for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 17, 18. I think he even had like a 20-point game at some point.
Couple of big
So I mean, he
weeks.
definitely had some flashes in the pan there where he looked like he could be a guy. I just don't know that he could be the guy. Um, man, he's 215 at 5'8". I didn't realize he was that bulky.
Yeah, me either.
That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think he's got some talent. I think that I don't think he's a trade candidate for sure. I mean, I think you can never have enough running backs with how often
Yeah,
guys get hurt.
agreed.
But and then as for Hunter, I mean, I think he's sitting on my taxi squad right now. Let me
He
double
is.
check that. Yeah, he
The
is. He
one.
is.
Why I'm watching him.
But I don't really know what to make of him yet. I think he was talented. I liked how he looked at Auburn. I think he's got some moves, but I mean, you're coming into an offense with a pretty established running back already. Kyron Williams is there. Also, Sean McVay hates rookie running backs. It's well documented. Look it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, look at how Corum was used when he was a rookie. I don't even know if he had. I don't know how many touches he had as a rookie, but it wasn't very many.
On a
Kyron
lot.
Williams is getting all the work. So um, and then Corum himself is pretty talented too. So it's gonna be a while. It's gonna take some things to happen, I think, before Jarquez Hunter ever really gets any real attention.
Agreed. All right, moving on to wide receiver position. We're gonna start at the bottom. It's the Wilson brothers. I'm just kidding, they're not
This is gonna be a
brothers.
conversation and a half.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. We'll start with the ones that there isn't much. We already talked about Horton. We haven't talked about Cup yet. We'll talk about the Wilsons here. Johnny Wilson. I mean, we all love him. Well, of course, State fans love him, but I don't know. I don't know if he's ever gonna be anything. Especially if he's in Philly with such a low passing volume as it is. See, I don't know. I think you only have the one pick, so maybe he sits on the end of the bench in development. But he's one that if you get another pick and you need to cut somebody, he's probably on the chopping block. And same thing with former Herbert's pervert. No one, I'm not going to get canceled for this, but never mind. Owen Wilson, former pervert. He, I don't know. I don't. He still hasn't really shown it. I mean, he had an okay year this year, but we'll see. I think they definitely take a receiver, so that just puts him further down the depth chart. But we'll see with him. Your thoughts on the Wilson twins? Not twins.
I mean, I think that pretty well sums it up. I think that Johnny's not in a very wide receiver friendly offense as it is, and then couple that with two much more talented guys ahead of him. One of them being Heisman winner Devontae Smith. But I don't really see him cracking that top two. Maybe if AJ Brown left, which is possible. There's rumblings of that. He
Hmm.
seems like he's not happy in Philly anymore. He might bounce this offseason.
Agreed.
Here in Patriots might be a potential destination for him. Don't tell Archie though. Don't tell Archie though. We're gonna try to trade away from him. But but yeah, I don't know. I think with Johnny being hurt and he never really made like a huge impact even when he was healthy. I mean, he was a decent blocker, which is always huge, but I don't really know that he's ever gonna get the opportunity that he needs. And then Roman Wilson is, I don't know, this the Steelers had this propensity for years for drafting elite wide receivers and just grabbing them out of the bargain bin.
Hmm.
And I feel like that has not been the case the last couple of years. Roman Wilson looked great at Michigan, I think, in my opinion. I know there's some Michigan haters on this broadcast right now. I
There
won't name
are
names. But
multiple.
I think he was very good at Michigan. I think he showed a lot of promise. I think he has not shown any of it at the NFL level. and continues not to show it at the NFL level. I mean, he's had a couple flashes, a couple decent games last year, but he also had the ghost of Green Bay throwing to him. So,
Hmm.
maybe that's a contributing factor as well. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say about him. I mean, we'll see how he looks. I kind of agree with your point that I don't think that the Steelers will go all off season without snagging somebody else for that rotation, and that probably pushes him down even further.
All right, moving up to Cup. I'll let you take the lead. You said you had some thoughts on Cup, so let's hear them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cop, wow, Cup will continue to be like a pretty solid on the field guy. I just don't know how that's going to translate for fantasy purposes. I think he's really good to have like on that team. I think he's probably giving a lot of great mentorship to some of those younger guys in that offense. I mean, I don't think it's entirely a coincidence that, he joins that offense and the Emerald City route artist has the year of all years as he did.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Smith and Jigba for those that are uncultured.
Yeah.
But I think one of Cup's biggest strengths when he was at his peak form in LA was, running really great routes, really crisp routes. And I think that he's helping convey that to some of the other guys in that offense. He's what, 31, 32 now. He's getting a bit older. I just don't know that he has the physical capability to uh, carry those out himself anymore. But he still comes up big in some clutch situations. He had some really really nice plays in the playoffs there to help get Seattle across the finish line. So, two-time Super Bowl winner, one-time Super Bowl MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Cup. He's available for two firsts. Start the bidding there.
Isn't that what
But
you paid for?
but
Oh,
no,
you only
in all
paid
seriousness,
one first one.
yeah, in all seriousness, I think that he'll just be a guy that might get subbed in as a flex option on very rare occasions.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much where I am at with him. Um, I don't, I don't think receivers are number one need, especially if they get Shaheed back. But I don't really know what the need is for the Seahawks. So maybe they do go take another receiver. Um,
I don't know. Being Cup's getting paid pretty well, for being honest. I don't remember what his exact numbers are,
I
but
didn't
his
look that up
contract is
actually.
pretty fat considering his relative
Good
performance. And
lord,
then they also,
3 million, 3 year, $45 million.
oh yeah,
Did
yeah,
not
no, and
realize.
the Rams tried to scum him too, if you recall, because there was reports that the Rams were telling teams like stay away, do not pay this guy, like he's cooked. Like, they were kind of undercutting him a little bit, trying to get him to retire. I don't know what that was about, but
I remember
I'm
that.
glad that
Wow.
I'm glad he didn't listen to that. I'm glad he kept it going because I mean he did have some contributions to that team this year,
Yeah,
getting
definitely.
himself another ring for his hometown team. But
Does say
yeah, I
there's a
mean they're paying
potential
him a
out.
ton of money.
Like there's a potential out this
I don't know
year.
that they'll do
I
that
don't. I don't think they
yet.
do that. I don't know when the
I don't think they do
cutoff
that
is
yet.
for this, but it would be pretty lowbrow to cut a guy who's not doing. Well, I know he wasn't like the main contributor, but yeah, I mean, he was pretty.
No, I don't foresee that.
And his
But what
cat,
I was going to say is
his
they're
cap
paying
hit.
him a lot of money, and then they also need to extend JSN still, probably this
That's true.
offseason, I think. So
Can't let that go
that's
too
going to be a
long.
lot of money tied up in the receivers to be looking at potentially getting another.
Yeah, yeah. Especially they just picked up Horton, and if they do re-sign Shaheed, but I don't know. I didn't realize his contract was so big. I missed that. Um, we'll see. We'll see with him for sure. And then next we have Demario Douglas, who contract year. It's a wide open receiver room. I've said this about every Patriots tight end so far. Like someone has to take the bull by the horns there. Someone has to be the guy. And if they go another year, don't address position, keep going with the same, ragtag crew, then we'll see. Like, what are they doing? I know the Patriots made the Super Bowl, but there's a lot of flukiness going on in that season, in my opinion, and I think in many's opinion. Um, but we'll see. I don't think Diggs is coming back, so it's wide open. Is it Is it Booty? Is it Douglas? Who's it going to be? If he can't be the guy, then he needs to go somewhere else, and he will be a free agent next year. So we'll see with Douglas. Any thoughts on him?
Nothing major on Douglas. I mean, I think we've kind of always known what he is at this point. I don't think that New England's going to go an entire offseason without picking up another receiver or two. I mean, like I said, I've already seen some comments here and there about maybe an AJ Brown trade. Maybe they go get somebody in the draft because there's some guys available there.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, he's fine. He's small. He's quick. I don't know that he'll ever be like an elite option. He'll probably never really see much play for me, if ever.
Yeah.
But he's available in a pinch, we'll say.
Agreed. And then we've got Horton, we already talked about. So, the elephant in the room here. I've got all six of these guys in backup, but I want to preface this by saying, like I have down here, literally all of these six could be moved up to starter by the end of the year. They could all stay the same. You could see some drop off, but I don't think anyone's going to leave this tier. I just have them here at the start because there's just a lot of unknowns surrounding pretty much all of them. We'll start
I
with
think I have some slight disagreement about one particular of these six elephants in this room right now.
you go first
I
because
think
it could be the same one.
I think Devonte Adams deserves to be a starter.
He
I
was he
I
was
don't.
he was the best of the bunch.
He
My
was. He was very consistent. I'm pretty sure he finished as a wide receiver one in our scoring format.
he did.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't see anything really, technically speaking, holding him back. I think that there's enough targets to go around in that offense, even with Nakua there.
Hmm.
So unless he has like a major physical regression, I think that he'll continue to be a consistent option. I don't really see him being anything but a starter.
Yeah, he was one I was closest on. The only reason I had him there is because 14 touchdowns is a lot of touchdowns. Which obviously he's a touchdown machine. He's always scored a lot of touchdowns, but he'll be 34 next year. He's going to be older. I don't know. We'll see if he doesn't lose a step. Um, and yeah, that's the reason I had him lower than starter. But I'm totally happy moving him up. He's very good still. It's just that touchdown number. I was like, I don't know if he can replicate that. We'll
Well,
see.
no, he's got the kingmaker under center, so
He
we'll see.
does. He definitely does. All right, moving on. We'll leave Adams up here for the time being. To Chris Godwin, who it's just that horrific injury. I know he came back last year, but he got hurt again. It's just like, can he
Todd
stay?
Bowles, if I ever see you in the street, it's on site, buddy.
Yeah,
You
seriously.
know what you did.
It's like, can he?
My friend
Can
Seattle will be there too.
yeah? Can he stay healthy? We'll see. Obviously, still a very good receiver. Very when healthy, very consistent. But I mean, every year he's had something or other. He's missed some time. Just about every year. The first 2 years not, and then 2023 he didn't. But it's always something with him. It's in a high volume passing offense. If he stays healthy, I think easily he's up here. I don't think Igbuka's gonna dethrone him by any means. But
Hope not.
but he's getting older, and it's harder to come back from injuries the older you get. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm comfortable with him as a starter too. It's just, does he stay healthy? That's it. That's all it is for me. And then Decaf Metcalf had a good year in Pittsburgh. But again, same thing with Wilson. They're probably going to address receiver, which could help him for sure. But I don't know. I think there's always just I just I don't know. I think his ceiling is 1,000 yards these days, especially if Aaron Rodgers is throwing to him. I don't think they're going to throw the ball as much as you or any DK Metcalf owner or Metcalf himself would hope. So we'll see with him. I'm more comfortable with him as flex play for sure, but I mean he can be a starter as well depending on what they do this offseason. But with Rodgers probably throwing to him again, I don't know about Metcalf so much. What are your thoughts on him?
I'd say that pretty well sums it up for him. I mean, he is who he is at this point. He's a physical guy that can't really run great routes. He's great at running slants. He's great at running go routes, and that's about where his ceiling sits. Um, he's in an offense that's probably going to want to run the ball still with elite running back Caleb Johnson available there.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding, just kidding. But you again, the ghost of Green Bay throwing him the ball just like Roman Wilson earlier. I mean, I think that his his ceiling is kind of capped with that in mind. So I don't love him as much as I did in Seattle. But yeah, I think having him in like tier two as you have him here is pretty good spot for him.
We talked about Burden already. We did hit on Rice. Rice is another one that, I mean, if he can just stop, running people over with cars or beating girlfriends, then he has a good shot to be a solidified receiver one. I just don't think he can stop doing those things. Like I don't.
I mean, he can't stay out of his own way.
He's
It's
a
ridiculous.
scumbag. Like what are you doing? I mean, he's good when he's on the field. Now we'll see what he looks like when he comes back, especially without Mahomes. But if he comes back, sure. I mean, he's not going to miss that much time for. We know how the NFL handles these things. So if he can get on the field, then you got another potential receiver one. I can't put him up there because he hasn't proven he can stay on the field. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he can stay on the field in a literal like health sense.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
like
think it's
like
I think the concern is whether or not he stays on the field due to other reasons.
no,
You
yeah.
know,
That's what I'm saying. Like
Kansas City loves an elite wide receiver that's a scumbag off the field,
yeah.
and that trend continues with Rashee Rice. I hope that he can find God or whatever he wants to find, something that'll
If there
keep
is
him
a
from
god.
doing all of this nonsense. But yeah, I think there's some question marks with him right now due to some legal troubles and then Mahomes being potentially out for an uncertain amount of time.
Agreed. And then we've all been waiting for Brian Thomas Jr. I'm a believer. I'm a BTJ believer for sure. Um, I don't know
Yeah,
what.
he's not for sale. There will be no buying low of Brian Thomas in this league. Everybody, just letting you all know now.
I was going to send a third for him. That's about what he's worth.
Brian Thomas is my wide receiver, Kyle Pitts. He will either explode or he'll be going down with the ship.
Yeah, it was such a weird year. I mean, had a bunch of targets. They stopped throwing to him because he wasn't catching things, and then he had some injury stuff. Like it was a weird year for him. I'm a believer, especially now that they announced that Travis Hunter's probably not going to play much receiver this year, which is, I mean, who could
You
have
just
seen?
hate to see
Who
it.
could have
You
seen
just
that
hate to see
coming?
it.
Draft a cornerback. Whatever. I was looking at the trade they made for him last draft.
Oh, they gave up a lot for a guy that's only going to play corner, and that's
Uh,
really what ends up happening.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was crazy. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm a Brian Thomas fan. I see this conversation next year. Like, oh yeah, of course he was going to bounce back. Easy starter, easy starter caliber. The signs are there, just in his head. Maybe he sees a sports psychologist. Who knows? But yeah, I like Brian Thomas. We'll see what happens with him. Any thoughts? I know you've already made it clear you're a fan, but anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been high on the talent. I think the talent's still there. I don't know what his deal was this year. I know there was some discussions about him kind of having the yips from a big hit that he had taken, I think in the preseason, if I
Mm,
so recall. Somebody gave him a good lick. I believe it was in the preseason. And then there's also some discussion about whether or not he was even healthy for most of the year. I know that there was a lot of times when he was kind of touching at that shoulder quite a bit, which,
right.
I think is probably pretty important if you play wide receiver.
Maybe a
So,
little.
well, remains to be seen what his deal is. Trevor Lawrence, what's your problem? I mean, that's really all I have to say about that. Liam Cohn, what's
Sucks.
your problem? I don't know why we're not trying to get Brian Thomas the ball more, but we can't let Parker Washington usurp his rightful place as the wide receiver one in that
Hey,
offense. I won't have it.
Tim.
I won't have it for Tim. I won't have it in real life. It's ridiculous. Brian Thomas is way better.
Tim is
But
on record as saying Parker Washington better
yeah, I mean
than Brian
that's an
Thomas.
absurdity. It's a ridiculous take. I'm
I mean,
sorry.
this is Tim Ross, one-time finalist. Wait,
Yeah, I mean
he didn't
if
make the
I'm
finals,
putting
did he?
these two guys, what's that?
No, I beat him in the playoffs. I think he was a finalist in prior to. Actually, I don't know. We're not talking about Tim. Anyways,
Yeah, no. I mean, bottom line, Brian Thomas is one of my guys. I've talked about this with you before off the record. He's one of my guys. He's not going anywhere. He's staying with me. he's either going to be a stud or he's going to be part of the ship, part of the crew. For my Pirates of the Caribbean fans out there,
Yeah.
no copyright strike, please, Disney. I'm sorry if
It's
you're listening.
canceled. All right, moving on to tight ends. I think a sight that you're happy to
And speaking of
see
my guys,
is Kyle Pitts in the starter tier. What, are you serious? You had it. You said this is the year. This was the year for Kyle Pitts. He was unbelievable this year. I do
he
want to
was great.
say there was a some of these numbers are being propped up by a 11 catch, 166 yard, 3 touchdown performance.
Well,
But
you know what they always say: if you take away all the good things a player does, they're bad. So
agreed, agreed. But he had his best season since he was a rookie. Most tight ends in his career, most receptions in his career. I don't see why it's not sustainable unless the quarterback room gets any more people than it's already had. Uh, Michael Penix is hurt again. I believe they've already said Kirk Cousins is not coming back. Is going to be released. So they gotta expect it to be Penix when he's healthy. But for the first however many weeks of the year, I don't remember. I guess his injury was pretty early, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with the quarterback room. But I still think Pitts is going to be up here for the next couple of years.
yeah, I like to think that the moment is finally here. I think, like you mentioned, big Kirk goes on his way out. I think he's done in the NFL. I mean, he's not looked great at all. Uh,
Old.
these last couple of years in Atlanta, he's just too old. He looks like a freaking statue under center. But he did love targeting Kyle Pitts this year, so thank you for that, Kirk Cousins. I applaud you there. But yeah, I think Kyle Pitts, especially in the latter half of this year, started to look like the Kyle Pitts of old that I was looking to acquire when I drafted him in the second round of the startup. A move that I was kicking myself for a few years. I'll finally say that out loud now that he's looking good again. But no, I think that he's finally looking healthy again. I think he had some weird injuries that notoriously take a little bit of time to let a guy look right again, and I think he's finally looking right again. So I like him for the long term still. I always have.
Yep. All right, moving on to Barner and Schultz. I think two very good backups. Barner, getting his career started. Schultz kind of in the middle of his career, maybe towards the end. Barner had that big catch in the Super Bowl, and then is still young. Probably only gonna see more of a share in the offense going forward. He's not. I don't know that I ever see him going like bona fide, solidified every week tight end one material, but I think he's got a good.
He's got an outside shot at being
Yeah,
a startable option.
he's in a good offense. There's targets to be had, so I think he is an easy tight end too. Totally fine with that. Maybe a flex every once in a while. If he's not him, then I think you just have another good option in Schultz, who again, like I said, is getting older. Had a great year this year, but he'll be 30. We'll see if he can continue to do that, especially with I think is a new offense coming in Houston. But who knows? I think they're going to have a lot of change this year because it just wasn't good enough. But we'll see. He was good, so maybe they change everything but his role.
Yeah, I mean, I never really had to lead on Schultz. I picked him up, I think, for a third round pick a couple of years ago from Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan. So I mean, I'm fine with the relative return given what I sent for him. I don't know what that pick turned into, but
Um,
especially this year, I never, like I said, never really had to use him. But if I had needed to, he was there, and he had some moments throughout the year where CJ Stroud, the bum he is, was peppering him with targets and letting him rack up some nice tight end premium points for us. And if I had needed him, he would have gotten me something.
it looks like you traded it for Ollie Gordon, unless there was some different. Unless it wasn't your third, it was one of these guys, and none of these guys look like world. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, you might like a Dylan Sampson or an Elike Manor over current Dalton Schultz, but no, I won't smack on it too much. It's still
it's
not a
it's
bad depth
third.
option to have. at a position that's very difficult to get hits on.
Yeah, agreed. So I think you have two good plug and play options if you need to, like if Pitts is on injured or on a bye or God forbid gets injured. And I think you have some depth here. And then a couple of guys, Eric All, still young, had an injury. We'll see. And then Waller, I don't know that he's got anything left in the tank. He's probably a cut candidate. I just have him here because he is a free agent again. We'll see. Maybe he goes back to Miami, but I don't know. It's a whole new offense there, so we'll see with Darren Waller. But
Waller is one of the most curious cases I've ever seen that I can remember. I mean, he's older, he's injury prone, and yet when he was on the field last year, he looked pretty good. And Miami was using him pretty interestingly for a bit there, and
mm,
then he got hurt again and he was out for a while. But I don't know what to make of him. I don't know. I cut him when he was retired, obviously. Thankfully I was able to scoop him up again. I think
mm,
I got a good 20-ish, 22-ish points week out of him against Taylor, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry,
huge,
Taylor. Not
good.
really sorry, Taylor. But
Yeah, Ben Taylor, fuck you.
yeah, I don't know if I want to cut him yet because I feel like if he wants to keep playing, I mean, clearly the talent is still there and the talent can prevail depending on the situation. So we'll see what happens with him. As far as Musgrave is concerned, yeah, he's probably on his way out for me, especially once Tucker Craft comes back. That's that's an interesting one, Trevor. I know you're probably listening. When we used to have the gold rush, I'll call it, for undrafted free agents. I went for Musgrave. Trevor went for Tucker Craft, and
Yeah,
Trevor outmaneuvered me there. I thought I had the jump on him because Musgrave was taken higher in the actual literal draft. And so, logic dictates that he would have been the guy in that offense, and he just could never make that impact. So, unfortunately, got beat out by Tucker Craft pretty soundly at this point, I think. I mean, Tucker Craft, I would argue, is probably a top five tight end at this point. I know it's probably burning your ears, Justin,
it
given the
is.
colors that he dons on
He
Sundays.
sucks. He
But
sucks.
but who knows? I mean, maybe he comes back. I think he was a torn ACL too, wasn't he? So I mean, he may come back looking a little off. So we'll see what happens. But I don't. Regardless of how Tucker Craft looks, I don't really know that Luke Musgrave is ever capable of being the guy. So
Yeah, I agree with her. I did miss some messages from Trev, by the way. Trev says BTJ Goat. He says Dylan, give me Brian. He said Mixon in a third, a live offer here. Do you accept?
so wait, what is that? What was the offer?
He's offering you Joe Mixon in a third for Brian Thomas Jr. Accept.
That is an absurd. I won't even dignify that with a response. What are we talking about?
Agreed. Agreed. I did want to say maybe if you had more picks, Darren Waller's probably a guy that would be on his way out, but with only one pick, probably just he's probably one other one you stashed on the back of the bench there. But yeah, looking at your picks now, since the roster's out of the way, which solid roster. This is the best we've seen so far, if I do say so myself. We've got one third this year, first next year. Taylor's second next year, your third next year, and then in 2028 you have a second and a third, both your picks. So even with that trade to get Rice and Adams, you still have some draft capital for next year in particular. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to ask your thoughts on the third round pick because who knows what the third round pick is going to be. I mean, we know who's eligible, but thirds are dart throats, so we'll leave it there. And then down here, just potential starting lineup. A lot of these guys can be plug and play. You have Knicks or Mahomes. I have Knicks here because Mahomes is injured. Easy two here with Sharp backing him up, and then really it's your pick of any of those receivers. Whichever matchup you like the most, or whoever's contributing more the most, or sorry, who's ever contributing more in the beginning, middle, end of the season. You got a lot of options, is what I'm saying. You got some depth, which is something that a lot of teams don't have. So this is what I would, potentially starting lineup again. Matchup dependent, injury dependent, but yeah, it's a solid looking team.
Yeah, I think the only changes I would make here is I think we're probably looking at Char being on the bench start the year, probably for Rice in this case.
Yeah, he. I forgot he was injured, or I forgot he ended the year injured. So I that was a
Yeah, so I think we'd put him in there,
yeah.
and mm, I would argue that Metcalf and Brian Thomas for now is probably a toss up. I would probably lean Metcalf for the moment just because of how weird Brian Thomas looked at times. But 2, 3, 4 weeks into the year, we might be flip flopping those guys. But outside of that,
Agreed.
yeah, I'd say this is pretty much where we're sitting. And we'll get a little draft talk going. The combine's coming up in a
Hmm.
week, I think in a week, right? I
That's
know it's sneaking up on
tomorrow,
us here.
Thursday. Combine starts Thursday.
Oh, it's okay. It's this week. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get a little draft talk going. I'll talk about that third round pick. I don't really think there's any danger there, just for the sake of discussion, just for funsies. But I don't think it's any secret that I probably am looking at taking a running back in a draft that's not very running back heavy, unfortunately. I mean, I
Mm,
think in the third round, I'm probably looking at like a Jam Miller, a Le'Veon Moss type guy. I don't really think that any of the other like desirable options will be sitting there. I mean,
yeah.
we'll see how the actual NFL draft turns out because we never actually do the dynasty draft until players are on teams, and then
Change
that'll
that.
be a little more telling. But yeah,
Might
I mean,
change that.
I don't think I can reasonably take a receiver, which is unfortunate because there is a lot of them. But
Yeah.
I think I gotta go get a running back, especially now that Char blew out his knee. I mean, now we're really in a dire situation where CMC is getting older. He's injury prone. HM, we don't know what's going to happen yet. Brees Hall's stuck in New York Jet hell. So we might need to go try and get a depth guy or maybe even trade up for somebody else. The problem is once you drop off from Jeremiah Love, maybe like Jonah Coleman, I guess, after that, there's like a pretty massive talent drop off.
Yeah. As someone who needs a running back this draft, it's not a good draft to need. So we'll see
Not
what
great. Not great.
happens. We'll see what happens. There's always risers around this time of year where someone looks great at the combine and
Oh, yeah.
a team does something crazy like take Jameer Gibbs at number 12. No, I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But Jeremiah Love is going to be a top 10 pick, I think. But
Uh,
I don't know that there's
I
not
think
going
we
to be.
could be having a conversation about Nick Singleton in a couple
Yeah,
months. Feel
yeah.
like he's a guy that could maybe play himself into a higher pick depending on how the combine or his pro day goes. I don't know if he's doing the combine, hence the pro day disclaimer there, but
I'm not
I think he's a
sure.
guy that still has some potential to move up.
I think he's just got a lot of usage, and I think sometimes teams shy away from that. Not every team, but um, we'll see. I think he's, obviously unreal production in college, but I don't know. We'll see. He is he is going to the combine, so we'll get to see him. Um, we'll also get to see his running mate, Katron Allen. Like there are some names. There's not like we've had in years past where there's 3 or 4 guys that you're be okay taking in the first round and not feel weird about it. So we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of draft talk to do. Maybe I'll do a combine cap. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. You got a busy month coming up. So
For sure, for sure.
all right. Last thing, we let the owner of the team get to put themselves in the tier list. Reminder for all you listening, Trev and Dylan here, but Trev listening, we've got tier one, which is contenders, guys that are or teams that are contenders. They're up there, ready to win. They're locks to the playoffs. They're probably going to win a round of the playoffs. Very good teams, playoff teams. They're probably going to be in the playoffs. Don't know if they have that last piece there to win, and then Tweenersville, which I think if you're putting yourself down here, you're being too modest. But teams that are in between playoffs and rebuild, and the rebuilders who are definitely not. What do you think? Because you get to rank yourself, and I don't have any input on this. So what do you think?
I mean, I think in a perfect world, I would love to see my name up here in green, but I always prefer to take a more modest approach. And I think that we're probably looking at playoff teams, looking at tier two this year, assuming that everyone stays healthy. Now, if everybody doesn't stay healthy, then we're probably getting knocked down to yellow.
Right.
But I would say with assuming that everyone I have is available, we're sitting tight at tier two for the moment.
Above or below? Kirsty said she's probably second. So you above or below her? If you don't want to make, I'll make the
Um,
decision for you. But it's up to you.
I'll let the host decide on that.
I'm not Nate. Freudian slip. Dylan, I believe you are above. You are above Kersey here. Kersey's got a good team. I think there's just more unknowns with her team than there is yours. She's got a lot of garbage here too. But I think you're deeper and better than her team. No offense, Kersey. Good team, but I would have you here. Definitely. Personally, I'd have you up in tier one, but you get to choose. So you choose tier two, you're in tier two. So, any final words? Any last? Anything else to add?
I'll add if Kirsty happens to listen to this podcast, which I don't know that she will.
No shot.
Kirsty, if you're a real Gator fan, you'll go out and get Kyle Pitts for Brock Bowers. I'm just saying,
Ooh,
a real Gator fan wouldn't have a Georgia Bulldog on their team. Still,
that's true. But would a real Seminole fan have a Florida Gator on
hey,
his
hey,
team?
hey,
Multiple
look,
Florida
right now,
Gators?
right now, I'm a UCF Golden Knight for the purposes of this conversation.
That's fair. That's fair. I would
You
never
can't be
have.
undercutting me in the on broadcast trade discussion. Come
I would never have a rival school player on my team. Ever. Ever. I would never have rival team players on my team. Never. I would never have a Viking. Never have a Bear. All right. Well, that wraps us up. This was good. This was fun, Dylan. Congratulations on
on.
a good team.
Thanks for having me on, sir.
All right. Well, next time you hear from me, I don't remember what I said. I think it's my team preview. So I might ask for some submissions for that. I might see what the consensus is on my team. But that'll probably be next Monday. Dylan, thank you again for coming on. And yeah, we will talk to you all. I will talk to you all later. Have a good one.
Yeah, a little preview for next week. I just want everyone to know I've been secretly training Justin on an AI model throughout this entire episode. So Justin will actually be interviewing himself next week
Oh, that would be
via an
cool.
AI chatbot. So everybody can look forward to that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that technically savvy, but that would be pretty cool.
That would be. Might need to get the tech department on that.
All right, let's call up Will. Let's go wake him up.
Yeah, he's any minute. Well, actually, shoot, it's 9:45. Usually at 9, he's stirring. So. All right, cool. I will let you go. That was fun. Talk to you later.
Sounds good. Good talk.
All right, see ya.